On today's episode, we take a deep dive into the world of NFTs.
I have a couple of cool projects on the horizon right now. A couple of humanitarian projects. One specifically is Sunflower Kid, which is this comic book character I put together inspired by the war in Ukraine. I felt really inspired to do something, and with this NFT space, it gives artists like myself the ability to actually create change, and so I went for it.
Welcome to LatiNation, celebrating your generation from coast to coast. I'm your host, Humberto Guida, and today we're going to take a deep dive into the world of NFTs through the eyes of the artist Matteo Santoro. Now, Santoro made a name for himself as a graphic designer and an animator on Marvel movies like Captain America and Hulk, and he even did the voice of the Predator in Aliens vs. Predator, true story. He's also done covers for bands like Tool, so he's very into crazy art. It's very intense and over the top and trippy. And now he's making a name for himself as an NFT artist. And he's doing the NFTs not only for charities, for like a Ukraine charity, and he's also doing stuff for the Amazon rainforest, but he's also doing NFTs for a film that he hopes to star and direct called Sift. It's an amazing new way of making films. It's definitely a cool new way of financing projects, and we're gonna basically spend a day with him. We're gonna find out what makes him tick and what makes his NFT art and his new film so cool. Check it out.
My name is Matteo Santoro. I'm a director, world builder, NFT artist. I have a couple of cool projects on the horizon right now. A couple of humanitarian projects. One specifically is Sunflower Kid, which is this comic book character I put together inspired by the war in Ukraine. I felt really inspired to do something, and with this NFT space, it gives artists like myself the ability to actually create change, and so I went for it. And I guess I was inspired by a lot of those old comic book characters that came out of World War II. You had Captain America, you had Superman. Remember that shot of Captain America punching Hitler in the face, and so Sunflower Kid was almost like a reflection of that in a way. This boy who, because war is an adult problem. It's an adult situation, right? Kids didn't sign up for this, so I wanted to find a symbol of hope, and what better symbol than a little kid with sunflower power? And so I wrote a whole story behind it and built out this narrative, and in 2 weeks I put together these 5 NFT pieces and sold them out pretty fast, and was able to raise some good amount of money, and handed it right over to a foundation that was on the ground in Ukraine. And these are the guys that get hired by the government to go into the war zone with Tupperware filled with medical supplies. So after I was able to raise the money, they showed me these photos of all these supplies that they got and everything. And so it was just a really cool example of what can happen with Web3, having this ability to, like I said, for artists to actively make change in the world, without any middlemen, getting in the way. So the origin story of Sunflower Kid actually is that he was originally a soldier fighting in the war, and he got attacked in Chernobyl. And I actually wanted him to be a Russian soldier, completely indoctrinated into a system, completely blind because of the government pumping all this information into his brain. And so he goes into Ukraine not knowing what he's actually doing, and he gets attacked while in Chernobyl, and there's this sunflower field being mutated by all the nuclear waste byproduct out there, and he falls into the sunflower field. And he wakes up in the morning as a child, and he completely forgets everything, all of the the poison in his mind of who he was as a soldier, and he gets rescued by this Ukrainian kind of old man, and a woman, kind of grandparents, almost, the origin of Superman, how he gets picked up by, his parents in Kansas. So I guess inspired by that in a way. And then he has his powers to create sunflowers out of mid-air, and he uses that to kind of, clog up weapons and tanks and airplanes because he can fly. And then I actually, once he finished with the Ukraine war, his efforts, they expand even further than that. And I'm planning on keeping the spirit of Sunflower Kid alive. So when, let's say, for example, there's an earthquake in Haiti, I can do an NFT drop where we have Sunflower Kid going to Haiti and saving people as as this cool kind of comic book image. I sell that as an NFT, and then find some foundation that's on the ground, some humanitarian effort, and then kind of repeat the process whenever he's needed. In my mind, I'm building, like I said, I'm building out this narrative, and there's all these other superhero kids. There's this girl that I'm going to design. Her name's Time Out, and she has the ability to stop time. And then there's this other kid, and his name's Young, and he has the ability to turn adults into children. So Sunflower Kid, he gets the oligarchs or any of these war criminals and brings them to Young, and Young converts them into kids. So it's like this. Again, it's this contrast between war being this adult problem, like just angry old men trying to hold on to their riches, but at the end of the day, it's, the people getting hurt, like the kids, they don't deserve it. It's not their war. They just want to play. So, like I said, I want to build out this universe where it's literally children versus all wars in the world. So that's where it's headed. If NFTs weren't happening and Web3, wasn't happening, fortunately it is, but there's no other time in my life where I have the ability to actually do something outside of just kind of donating my own money or, but then again, it's like, does it get to the right places? And if you look at a lot of there was this article I read online about how crypto specifically has helped the war so much because of how people are able to kind of transfer money so quickly and just helping people, like I said, that need it right away. And so again, this is just an awesome example of the opportunities that can happen in Web3. The creator economy, baby. Yeah. After the success of Sunflower Kid, I was also looking into other humanitarian efforts, and I hooked up with this group who were doing a lot of cool things for the 4 main tribes in the Amazon. And I went to one of their fundraisers and what what they were doing, and I said, hey, you guys have you explored the NFT space at all? And I just explained to them what you can get done there and how that how you can help on a different level. And I came up with this concept called the Espirial tree series. And basically, I'm putting together 10. It's coming out in I think June. We're going to showcase it at NYC NFT. But there's a series of 10 of these trees, like these spiral trees. I had a meeting with the Kogi leader, Kogi tribe in the Amazon, and like his main thing is that he just wants to get his message out about humans connecting with nature and how we have lost our connection with nature and the things that we have to do in order to try to create that balance. And he told me about kind of the spiral, the kind of the cosmic shape that is found in all things, like that Fibonacci sequence. And so I went off and I designed this spiral tree series. I'm gonna do 10 of them. And in the NFT space, there's this thing called utility, where it's not just about selling a cool image anymore. It's about kind of what comes along with that, right? And for the Spiral Tree series, the owners of the trees, once we do it, they actually get a ticket to go to the Amazon and meet with these tribes and talk to them and understand like what it is, the message that they want to kind of send to the world. And then outside of that, all of the tribes. And I'm going to help them to rebuild a temple, like I said, was destroyed like 600 years ago or something like that. And I'm building a spiral temple as a metaverse component to this entire thing. And this temple inside of this virtual world will house actual artifacts, 3D scanned from these tribes. They already gave me some of these artifacts. I have like these, like this robe and these, all the, like these different bags and things that have a lot of significance to them. And I'm also going to feature other artists inside of the Espirial temple, and those artists can contribute to the effort to help these tribes spread their message. And so the whole idea is to kind of build out this community for them, and connect them to an audience that they've never really had the ability to connect to with before, the whole NFT space. And look, there's just like pros and cons to the NFT thing. The elephant in the room, I guess, right, is the NFT situation with energy consumption. So it's like, okay, so you're helping this Amazon rainforest tribes, but what about the energy thing? And it's like, well, other artists, including myself, are making a conscious effort to use their skills to try to change things, right? And so, like I said, it's the Web3 space, this creator economy. It's giving artists like myself this new kind of power to do amazing things. So do you think that we're going to sit around and just like let the energy thing be a part of this system? No, I mean, they're already creating a new ETH, like ETH 2.0. It's going to be a lot more energy efficient. There's other types of coins that are that actually consume less energy as well. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like the elephant in the room is being actively addressed. And so, it's not about for me, it's not about Web3, it's about Web5. That's what I keep saying. It's about the future of what this represents. I've been working as a visual effects artist since 2007. I was on movies like 300, X-Men, Incredible Hulk. I did some stuff for Iron Man. Alien versus Predator, I guess sharpening my axe for this moment in the NFT space. I directed a feature film. It's an indie sci-fi film. It's called Higher Power on Hulu, Amazon Prime, iTunes. That was my first experience behind the camera, but also kind of applying my VFX skills. But then after that movie, I ended up getting back into directing commercials, music videos. And then I started to work on my second movie, which is Sift, and it's kind of I guess my version of Star Wars, right? It's my world-building project. I've been putting it together for almost 4 years, and as a director, creator, when you're trying to pitch these movies to studio executives, if your idea isn't based on an original IP, intellectual property, a lot of you have to put together a pretty killer presentation in order to convince these guys that it's worth something to explore, because they want to have a built-in audience. But as soon as the NFT kind of boom happened, I saw an opportunity there, especially when they started working, when I saw what happens with utility, when it became more than just selling like a cool-looking image, because now you can combine narrative-driven content like movies or television shows or something like that in the NFT space, right? And I think that so SIF just felt like I wanted to build my fan base around this property and gamify the entire experience. Put everything together, a lot of practical elements. Like I actually built a robot out of vacuum parts. My buddy Bruce Mitchell, who's a legacy practical visual effects guy, kind of helped guide me through that process. And then I made all the weapons and built the costumes, and I actually even put myself in the whole thing. And I was like, all right, well, this is going to be my world. We're going to start from the ground up. This guy is the vessel robot, and as you can see, he got his ass kicked when I brought him out to the desert. and is now in pieces. It was a lot cooler beforehand because he was completely modular. You know, the head would move. You even have this kind of chest piece that comes off. At some point I want to put him back together because I'm thinking about including him with an NFT, which would be really cool to actually give fans the opportunity to own something at this scale. The NFT series, once I put it out, it sold out in like a week, which was really amazing. And I was like, all right, well, this community is accepting me and this project with open arms. So now where are we going to take it? And as I did more research on what can happen in the NFT space, I have this new series that's part of the SIFT world called the Tombstones, and they're these giant mech robots, 100 of them, and my main character Colton Grass, he fights these these tombstones. So you can actually buy one of them as an NFT, but it just doesn't stop there. If you have one, you have exclusive access to SIFT.world, which is this whole gamified web experience I'm putting together, and the tombstone holders have access to this thing called the Raw Tech Cyber Laboratory. In the Cyber Laboratory, this is where it gets really interesting, and this hasn't happened before. I'm creating an economy around the development space. So if you, for example, like Terminator 2, when that movie when they were developing that movie, Stan Winston Studios, they worked for, I don't even know how many years designing all these different versions of the Terminator, right? Now in the NFT space, those versions actually have real value. They have value, so you can actually show that stuff and sell that stuff to the audience like beforehand, and the proceeds can go back into the film, right? So it's like this whole other way of kind of bridging the gap between the fans and the content that they love and consume. And so I'm doing that with SIFT. So like back to the Raw Tech Cyber Laboratory, if you have a tombstone, you have voting rights now to vote on specific character looks in my movie. And normally it would just be like, me and some other art directors kind of talking about the direction where we want to take it. But now it's like, no, we're going to allow the audience to have that opportunity to kind of find who these characters are with me. So it's this kind of co-creation, which it's never really been done before. And so I'm just excited to dive into this new frontier. When I directed my first feature, I took a bunch of these acting lessons around LA to just get a sense of how to communicate with actors, because it's just part of the job. You want to be able to meet them on that heart level. And like as I was going through that process, I was like, I really like this. It's another form of play. When I started writing SIFT, the main character, I just saw a lot of kind of reflections of myself. I think a lot of writers, they do that. They'll kind of put themselves in parts of them, because you write what you know, right? So it's put parts of yourself into these characters. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to be him. I'm going to be Colton Grass. It was just calling to me. And because this whole project is, again, like kind of starting from the ground up, like I've been putting it together brick by brick, it just felt like the natural next step for me to not only just direct it and put together all these visuals. I wanted to put myself in it as well, and I'm just been like looking for that character and found him, and so it's just kind of turned into this all-encompassing experience for me that I'm just diving headfirst into. We're gamifying the experience of developing a feature, and I really want people to come along with me on that ride, so that's where we're at.
All right, guys, that's it for today's show. Hope you guys learned a lot about NFTs and how they're actually helping artists finance their bigger projects. Can't wait to see what Mateo Santoro does with SIFT, and when he makes that film, he'll come right back here to LatiNation to promote it. Till next time, keep it real and get into some art. Peace.